He doesn't even know why he can't stop thinking about you. It's not what you wore, not what you said. It's something deeper. Something you did that slipped under his skin and stayed there. Tonight, I'm going to show you the 5 erotic triggers that men can't resist. The ones that don't just turn him on, they make him obsessed. Use them with intention and watch what happens next. There's something electric about the unspoken. The moment before a kiss, the look across the room, the playful glance that says everything and nothing at the same time. This is where the true power of subtle suggestion lives. Most women think that being erotic or turning a man on is about revealing more, saying more, doing more. But what men can't resist isn't the obvious, it's the implied. It's the tension that builds when something is almost happening but not quite. That's what hooks their mind and keeps them chasing you long after you've left the room, because in that moment of suggestion, you're not just triggering his body, you're activating his imagination, and that is where the deepest desire is born. Men are visual creatures, yes, but the kind of visuals that drive them wild are often less about what's seen and more about what's hinted at. A slow tilt of the head when you're listening to him, eyes that linger 1 second longer than expected, a smirk that suggests you're holding onto a secret. These things don't scream desire, they whisper it. And whispers make people lean in. They make him curious. And when a man is curious, he's engaged. He's not just thinking about your body, he's wondering about your mind. He's asking himself questions. What's she thinking? Why did she look at me like that? Does she know what she's doing to me? That mental dance, that loop of unanswered questions is erotic in a way that's far more powerful than anything overt. When you understand the power of suggestion, you no longer feel the need to do the most. You realize that the real art of seduction isn't about pushing, it's about pulling. It's about the slight graze of your fingertips on the table as you're talking, the casual way you brush your hair back to reveal your neck, the effortless lean in when you're telling him a secret that doesn't really matter but makes him feel like he's being let in. The mind fills in the blanks, and the blanks are where all the excitement lives. It's not the full picture that keeps a man hooked. It's the outlines, the fragments, the space where he gets to create the rest in his own imagination. Even the way you speak can be filled with this kind of energy, lowering your voice slightly, taking your time with your words, allowing pauses to linger a little longer than necessary, using humor to flirt, using silence to build tension, using the moment to stretch time. You're not giving everything away. You're leading him slowly, making the destination feel like a reward, not a given. This is the kind of seduction that doesn't need a bedroom to start. It can begin over coffee, in a hallway, sitting in a car, because it's all in the air between you. That energy, that barely there pull, that heat that doesn't need skin to be felt. Subtle suggestion works best when it's intentional but looks accidental. When you dress in a way that leaves something to the imagination, when you say something that sounds innocent but carries a second meaning, when you give him a compliment that flatters his masculinity without screaming thirst, you become the woman who knows how to turn him on without trying too hard. And that, to a man, is irresistible. He's not just interested in your body, he's obsessed with the idea of you. And when a man becomes obsessed with your idea, he's emotionally and mentally locked in before anything physical even begins. That's the kind of power that lasts far beyond one night. There's something incredibly powerful about a woman who walks into a room owning every inch of her energy. She doesn't need to say a word for people to notice her. She radiates confidence, but not the kind that feels intimidating or overly polished. It's warm, It's alive, and beneath that strength, there's something even more captivating: vulnerability. That quiet softness that says, I feel too. That openness that invites connection instead of demanding attention. This blend of confidence and vulnerability creates an emotional texture that men are instinctively drawn to, even if they can't quite explain why. It's not just about being bold, it's about being real. Men don't just crave sex, they crave a connection that makes them feel something. A spark that makes the moment feel different than any other. That spark often comes from a woman who knows her worth, but doesn't pretend to be untouchable. She's playful, she's present, she's honest, and that's magnetic. When a woman expresses confidence, she tells the world she doesn't need anyone's validation to feel valuable. She can make a decision, hold her own in a conversation, and walk away from anything that doesn't serve her. That's attractive, it signals strength. But when that same woman also allows moments of vulnerability, when she shares a thought that's deeply personal, or when she lets someone see the real her, not the curated version, that's when everything changes. Because now she's not just desirable, she's relatable. She becomes human, not just hot. And the kind of man who is emotionally aware, who is looking for something more than surface level thrills, will feel something shift in his chest. It's not just lust anymore, it's connection. An erotic connection is so much deeper than physical chemistry. It's feeling like you found someone who lets you drop your guard without needing to fix anything. There's this subtle balance between being the woman who can walk away and the one who's brave enough to stay in a vulnerable moment. Confidence alone can sometimes come off as distant, even cold. Vulnerability on its own can seem needy or unsure. But when you pair the two, what you create is irresistible. A woman who chooses to open up, not because she needs approval, but because she wants intimacy. She's not afraid to say what she wants, what she likes, what turns her on. She's not waiting for permission to feel desire. She doesn't perform to please. She invites him into her world because she's already full on her own. And that invitation feels rare. It feels special. It feels like something worth holding onto. Men are often expected to be the ones who lead, but there's something incredibly seductive about a woman who leads in emotional courage, who isn't afraid to be fully seen, who says, I want this, and means it. It's not about dominating or controlling. It's about creating a space where desire isn't just about the physical, but about mutual presence. When a man feels that from you, it makes him want to show up more. It makes him want to match your energy. It makes him want to give back what he's receiving. Suddenly, this isn't just a hookup or a fleeting attraction. It's an experience, and that experience stays with him. He may not remember the words you said. He may not even be able to explain what exactly made the moment feel so charged, but he'll remember how you made him feel. That feeling of being pulled in by your strength, then held by your softness. That moment when you weren't trying to impress him, but you impressed him anyway. Not by being perfect, but by being fully, unapologetically you. There are moments when words aren't needed, when the body speaks louder than any line ever could. One of the most overlooked erotic triggers for men is the unexpected physical touch. The kind that's not planned, not over the top, but so intentional and natural that it slips under his guard before he even realizes what's happening. It's the kind of touch that doesn't just say I'm attracted to you, but whispers it through sensation. And it works because touch, when done right, is primal. It bypasses logic and hits him in a place that's raw, instinctual, and deeply sensual. Men might not always have the language to explain why they feel more connected to certain women, but touch has a way of communicating desire, warmth, and intimacy all at once, without making a big show of it. When a woman understands this, she doesn't have to constantly flirt or use seductive words. She lets her body do the work in the subtlest ways. Maybe she's laughing at his joke and gently places her hand on his forearm for just a second longer than necessary. Maybe she walks past him in the kitchen and lightly trails her fingers across his back. It's these small, almost accidental gestures that create a ripple inside his nervous system. They ignite the kind of anticipation that isn't rushed or forced but slowly builds like heat rising. It's not about grabbing or clinging. It's not about being obvious. It's about allowing moments of connection to feel real, natural, and just a little bit surprising. Men are wired to notice contrast. When everything is expected, the sense is dull. But when something catches them off guard, in a good way, it sticks. That soft brush of a hand at the right moment can turn a casual interaction into something suddenly charged with energy. What makes this kind of touch so erotic is its unpredictability. It's not something he can prepare for or defend against, and because of that, it feels authentic. It tells him you're comfortable in your body. It shows that you're at ease with closeness, not just physically but emotionally too. That kind of comfort is contagious. When a man feels you're relaxed and expressive, he lets his guard down. He doesn't feel pressure to perform or overthink. He just feels safe, seen, desired. And once he feels that, he starts to associate your presence with pleasure, even outside of intimacy. You become the woman whose energy he remembers in the silence, whose touch he can still feel long after the moment passes. There's also something about touching him in places that aren't overtly sexual but still intimate. The nape of his neck, the inside of his wrist, a gentle hand on his chest when you're making a point. These are zones that most people don't reach unless there's real closeness. So when you access them with care and intention, you create a sensory memory that's hard to shake. And it's not just about the sensation. It's about the fact that you noticed. You weren't just going through the motions. You were paying attention. You saw him not just as a body but as a person. And when you bring that level of presence to something as simple as touch, it awakens something inside him that isn't just erotic, it's emotional. Men don't want to feel like they're being handled or manipulated. They want to feel like they're being chosen. And nothing says, I choose this moment with you, more than a soft, unspoken gesture that connects without needing anything in return. That's what unexpected touch does. It doesn't demand, it offers. And when you offer it freely, without pressure, it opens the door to connection that's deeper than chemistry. It makes the room feel warmer. It makes him feel wanted, not for what he can give you, but for who he is when he's near you. Men might act like they don't need praise, like they're fine without compliments or emotional validation, but deep down they crave it more than most will admit. The difference is, they don't want praise that feels fake, forced, or generic. What really gets under a man's skin, what truly triggers his desire, is being recognized in ways that feel specific, earned, and deeply masculine. He doesn't want you to flatter him just to flatter him. He wants to feel like you see him, really see him for who he is and what he's proud of being. When a man feels like he's being admired not just for how he looks, but for how he looks, but for how he shows up in the world, for how he leads, how he protects, how he makes decisions, it hits a part of him that's wired for purpose and power. And when you activate that, you're not just turning him on, you're turning on his identity, his pride, his inner drive to keep showing up for you. It's not about feeding his ego just to manipulate him. It's about tapping into the part of him that wants to be your hero. Not in a fairy tale sense, but in a way that makes him feel valuable in your eyes. Men want to feel like they matter to the woman they're with. that who they are makes a difference in your life. So when you take a moment to compliment his voice, his presence, the way he handles pressure, or the way he makes you feel safe, it lands in a much deeper place than simply saying, he looks good. It's the difference between saying, nice shirt, and there's something about the way you walk into a room that makes me feel like I can breathe. One is surface level, the other reaches into his soul. The second one says, I notice who you are, not just what you wear. And that's the kind of praise that makes a man want to be better, do more, love harder. There's a secret here that most people miss. Men don't want praise all the time. If you give it constantly, it starts to lose impact. But when it's delivered at just the right moment, in just the right way, it becomes unforgettable. Picture this. He does something that maybe he doesn't even think you'll notice. Maybe he checks in on something important to you, or fixes something without being asked, or simply walks with confidence into a room. You lean in, look him in the eyes, and tell him how sexy it is that he takes charge like that, or how it makes you feel feminine, cared for, seen. You're not just complimenting his behavior, you're anchoring his actions to how he makes you feel. And when a man feels like his presence affects you positively, it activates something primal in him. He feels capable, he feels chosen, and nothing is more erotic than feeling wanted in a way that's rooted in who he really is. The trick is to be precise. Tell him what you admire, why it turns you on, and let him feel the sincerity in your tone. It's not about hyping him up like a cheerleader. It's about making space for him to feel appreciated in a way that strengthens your bond. This kind of praise doesn't just stroke his ego, it fuels the connection. It makes him feel like he's not just a man around you, he's your man. And that feeling, that recognition, is something he'll come back for again and again. It stays with him. It changes the way he looks at you. It adds emotional depth to physical chemistry, making every touch, every glance feel more charged. Because now he knows you don't just see his body, you see his essence. And once he knows that, once he feels that kind of admiration from you, he'll crave it more than anything else. There's a reason men are drawn to mystery. It's not about being distant or playing hard to get. It's about creating space for curiosity to grow. When a woman is slightly unpredictable, when she doesn't reveal everything about herself right away, when she keeps a little bit of her energy tucked away instead of pouring it all out at once, it makes a man lean in. He starts asking questions in his head. Who is she really? What's she thinking right now? Why do I feel like I haven't fully figured her out yet? That mental engagement becomes a form of obsession. It's not just about attraction anymore. It becomes a fascination. And fascination is far more powerful than fleeting attention. Because the moment he feels like he's solved the puzzle, the excitement begins to fade. But when you remain just out of reach, without ever being cold or detached, you hold his mind in your hands without having to do much at all. Men are wired to enjoy pursuit, not because they want a challenge for the sake of difficulty, but because they value what they have to invest in. When something feels too easy, it doesn't activate the parts of them that feel purpose, pride, and passion. A woman who is emotionally available, yet still maintains an edge of mystery, gives him the best of both worlds. She shows interest, but she doesn't over-explain. She shares, but she doesn't overshare. She expresses affection, but doesn't smother. She's present when she's with him, but her life is clearly full even when he's not around. That balance keeps him in a state of desire, because every interaction feels like he's discovering something new. And each time he discovers a new layer, it makes him want to dive deeper. Playful challenge adds another layer to this dynamic. It's not about teasing for the sake of it. It's about being comfortable enough in yourself to spark tension in a way that's fun, not confrontational. It's in the witty comebacks, the raised eyebrow when he tries to impress you, the laugh that says, "Nice try," when he thinks he's got you figured out. This kind of playful challenge isn't about putting him down, it's about inviting him to rise up. It's subtle, light-hearted, but it makes him feel like he has something to prove, and that keeps him engaged, because now he's not just drawn to you, he wants to earn you. That desire to earn your attention, your time, your affection, turns a casual connection into a mental and emotional game he's excited to keep playing. Controlled mystery also shows up in the way you reveal your desires. Instead of announcing every thought and feeling, you let things unfold naturally. You allow him to peel back layers at his own pace. You let silences hang a little longer. You change your tone, your glance, your energy, just enough that he notices but can't quite place it. That unpredictability keeps him off autopilot. It forces him to stay alert, to stay aware, to stay tuned in, and that alertness is what builds tension, because now he's not just reacting, he's pursuing, he's present, he's in the moment with you, not distracted by the outside world. This kind of connection doesn't just make him want you, it makes him value you, because while other people may be offering themselves freely, you are offering something rarer. Experience, discovery, sensation, all wrapped up in mystery and presence. That makes him feel like he's not just lucky to have your attention, he's lucky to be invited into your world at all. And once he's in, he'll want to stay there, not because he's been caught, but because he's been captivated. And that's the kind of erotic trigger that doesn't fade with time, it deepens, it grows, it becomes something he can't stop thinking about long after the night ends. When it comes to triggering deep, lasting, irresistible desire in a man, it's never about doing the most, it's about doing the right things with intention. Erotic energy isn't just physical, it's psychological, emotional, and deeply sensory. It lives in the space between what's said and what's suggested, between the strength you show and the softness you allow. When you learn how to use subtle suggestion, pair confidence with vulnerability, master the art of unexpected touch, offer praise that feels real, and maintain a sense of playful mystery, you're no longer chasing his attention. You're holding it effortlessly. These aren't tricks, they're truths. And when you understand how to embody them, you don't just become the woman he wants tonight. You become the woman he can't stop thinking about tomorrow, and every night after that.